Well, we're back with another video on the Ibanez AS63. As it turns out, I really don't have all the parts I need just yet for this thing, but I'm going to start tearing it down anyway, and we'll see what else we can do for now. So the parts I'm still waiting on are especially my neck pickup. The snail mail is just kind of slow with the pandemic, obviously. But I have my bridge pickup, and somebody gave me a free string winder, so that's always cool to get some of these for free. So yeah, these tuners are pretty low end, and I'm going to be replacing those. I'm not sure if I even showed any of the parts I bought for this so far, but I've got some nice Lock & Grover tuners I'm going to put on this. I think I mentioned it in the other video, but I'd kind of like to try and configure this to have 2 volumes and 2 tones. I bought some little wooden dowels I can attempt to fill these holes in with if I need to. So on a traditional 335 guitar, this hole here would normally be where your toggle switch goes, and then you'd have obviously your volume and tone and then another volume and tone. So I think the center hole here might need to move closer a little bit. And this one might be okay, and then I need 2 over here for the bridge. And I currently still have some higher quality CTS mini pots, as I said in the video, so it's worth upgrading the pots, and then I have a better switch because this one already cuts out occasionally. And then I've got some other accessory type parts I'll show in a little bit. Okay, so now I've got the strings taken off and we can get down to business. So it's just got generic, no name, tailpiece and generic Tune-o-matic style bridge. Really nothing too high quality. I'm not sure if I'm gonna replace these just yet or what I'm gonna use. I actually wanted to take some measurements on this thing before I order any more replacement parts, but I can't find my calipers anywhere. This just has a plastic nut standard, and I was thinking of maybe putting in a Graphtec or a bone nut. As I said in the previous video, the one thing I do really like about this guitar is how lightweight it is, and I did actually weigh it since then, and it's just under 7 pounds, which is pretty remarkable. A couple of years ago I had an Epiphone ES335 Pro, which was a pretty cool guitar, but it still felt pretty heavy for a semi-hollow. And of course I hot rodded that, and I think I had some issue with the toggle switch on that guitar, so I tried to replace it, but for some reason I don't think I was able to replace it because the top was too thick or something, and the switch I was trying to put in didn't even fit properly. Okay, I'm gonna briefly try to show some of the parts I've received for this thing so far. So we've got a couple different options for the plastics. I've got a cream 3-ply pickguard we could go with. I've also got just black. And these are a bit different because there's a countersunk hole here for the bracket, whereas this one uses some kind of bracket with the little rubber pad that sticks onto this with adhesive or something. So I might have to find some kind of bracket depending on which one we decide to go with. And then I've got some cream pickup rings. I'm not entirely sure how well these are going to fit if I decide to go with these cream ones because they have the curved bottoms. And I don't really think that's necessarily an arch top. Then I've got this inexpensive, kind of affordable trapeze tailpiece we could go with, which might look nice on there. And I've got my Sprague orange drop tone caps, 0.022 microfarad. And then I've got a couple of these Switchcraft 1/4-inch output jacks. And they do appear to be genuine Switchcraft brand because any genuine Switchcraft parts typically have their name branding stamped into here, which you might be able to see. And along with that, I ordered a better quality, supposedly Switchcraft toggle switch, although I don't see Switchcraft branding on this, which does concern me a little bit. However, this does feel about as durable as a Switchcraft, so it should hopefully be better quality than the switch that currently comes with. And then I've got my bridge pickup, which is a DiMarzio PAF Master Bridge Pickup DP261. So this particular bridge pickup model it's got an Alnico 4 magnet. In my Japanese Les Paul copy, I have a Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Special pickup in the bridge position, and that's got Alnico 4 magnets, and it's got a unique sound. So hopefully this will be a cool sounding pickup, and it's pretty low output, I think only in the 7K range, so it should be pretty interesting for this Ibanez. And then, as I said earlier, I've got some of these little 3/8 diameter wooden dowels I can try to use to fill some of the holes if I need to. And then we're going to grab a spoon, just as one of my trade secrets to be able to pop the knobs off of a guitar without scratching the finish up. So you can just have the rounded part of a spoon against the guitar body and it won't mar the finish or anything. But these are still on here pretty good. So you just kind of work your way all around the whole thing and then you can pop it off. So this is definitely safer than trying to get under there with a screwdriver, and you'll more than likely scrape the finish with the screwdriver. I think I just broke some of the plastic, but probably going to be replacing these knobs anyhow. So there's that, and then some of this hardware is already loose that I don't even need a wrench for some of this. So now I've got some of the electronics torn out of this thing. Oddly enough, the switch itself is made in Korea, whereas the whole guitar is made in Indonesia. So yeah, those are just little cheapy mini pods, and these are our pickup wires here. So they're not even 4-conductor or anything. I highly doubt they're even wax potted. And then this black wire here should be our bridge ground to ground all the metal components together. And then we'll take the pickups out, have a look at them. So here's a look at the stock pickups that came out of this. They really don't even appear to be wax potted, like I said. Hardly any information on the back of them. So those will have to go since they're not so nice. And here's the gutted guitar. So yeah, these are definitely flat mounting rings. So I'll have to see if we can whether these will even fit on here at all. But then of course if I open this I can't return them, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be alright if I just screw them down. Look how low this is compared to the neck joint. I might need some kind of spacer under this anyway. Not sure what I'm going to do about that, unless we just decide to go with the black rings and I can use the stock ones. So here's what it could look like with the cream plastics. I think this looks pretty cool like this, especially since there's the cream binding in the F-holes here. helps that to pop. So this looks pretty cool like that. And I could get the black guard and stick these back in there to compare and contrast. Then there's the black pick guard. Of course this isn't entirely accurate because the pickups I'm putting in this are going to have nickel covers. But it looks better with the black than the pearloid one this came stock with. It's kind of a strange choice. And then I've got my trapeze tailpiece. So there's a rough idea. The trapeze tailpiece. I still kind of think I'm digging the cream. So I'm wondering if I might even be able to put the little cream ring like on top of this ring perhaps, and maybe use this as a spacer since it's flat. Because even on this ring, the pickup is raised really high out of the ring. So that's a really tall height on there for that neck joint or whatever against the body. So then here's what it could look like with the cream. Sorry, this doesn't want to stay put. But I think I'm liking the look of the cream so far. I just like how it pops with all the binding again. And it'll probably look cool with the nickel covered pickups too. I just have to find some kind of other bracket or a bigger screw for this because it didn't come with one. So yeah, for this neck pickup I'm thinking I might be able to just put my cream ring on top of this. Although I'd need longer screws, but that's probably not a big deal. I can order those, and then I might just try to spray paint this ring chrome, or not chrome, cream, so it can match this. Because I have some kind of off-white spray paint, so I might just try to spray this ring. And then see if I can order longer screws, and then that should hopefully resolve that issue. Because again, this is way too low, and I'm not even sure if I could raise the pickup high enough to where it needs to be, and it would probably look silly anyway. And then as for the bridge pickup, this is already taller than the stock one. And again, I might need longer screws for the back holes on this, so it's not a big deal. I can probably find screws relatively easily on eBay. And I'm still waiting on other parts anyway, so that's probably going to be the plan for that. Alright, so off camera I just used my wire cutters here, and I managed to get in between the gap here, and I pried these out, which wasn't even that hard to do. I didn't feel like buying the expensive tool people use to get these out. But anyhow, when you buy replacement bridges or tailpieces, they typically include new posts. So even though the wire cutters kind of chewed these up a little bit, this is just, you know, cheap pop metal, so not too worried about that. I do have something I could cover this with. I'll get it here in a second. So one other thing I bought that I could put on this is one of the custom-made plaques. It has self-adhesive on the back, so maybe I could at least attempt to age this and maybe rub some shoe polish into here or something so it can dirty up the white lettering and make it look cream to match the rest of the plastic a little better. But yeah, this is a cool thing to use to cover those. Here are my tuners I'm going to put on this. I don't remember if I showed those in the previous video, but these are Grover original locking rotomatics. So the part number is 502N. So I think the 502 means they're the locking ones, and these are the full-size rotomatics with the big buttons on them, and they're also nickel plated. Nickel plated ones are cool because they can actually age, and oxidize with your sweat, and I have rather acidic sweat that corrodes normal strings, so I always have to use elixir strings, and then over time the nickel hardware just naturally ages the more you play, so that's kind of unique, and I like that natural kind of aged look on some of the hardware, even though, you know, the modern poly finish won't relic or anything compared to nitro, but that's a whole other story. So yeah, I'm thinking I might just put this trapeze tailpiece on there since I have it. Otherwise, another cool tailpiece might be like a TP6. But yeah, I like the classy look of this trapeze one. Oh, and then I also have some custom knobs on order, which I could show in a future video because they're still on the way. So yeah, I'm getting pretty hungry, and it's 9 o'clock at night and I haven't had dinner yet, which is pretty crazy. So I gotta go eat. Well, I might need to order a few assortments of dowels. I'm not sure. These holes for the stock pots were too small, so I suppose there's a chance I could just ream these to 3/8 and then fill them with these dowels, but that's only if I need these holes to be filled and if they're not placed in the right spots. So maybe that won't be a problem, but for this toggle switch hole here, which I was planning to fill, the 3/8 dowels are too small. So I probably need at least some kind of size bigger than that, like maybe 7/16 or so. Either 7/16, maybe half an inch. Half an inch might be too big. So yeah, that's another slight setback, but I already anticipated that I'd need to order more parts, and that's definitely turning out to be the case. And then I also ordered some lighter blue colored spray paints to paint these dowels before I stick them in to fill any of these holes. Even the output jack down here isn't quite 3/8. So if I was so inclined, I could make this even more like a 335 and plug this hole down here and put the thing up here like on a real 335. And then speaking of, I'm not sure if I have a spare guitar strap for this thing, so I might have to look for another strap online too. But luckily this is nice and lightweight, so I don't need anything crazy wide or whatever. Well, I'm actually in luck. It turns out that these existing holes in the headstock are the correct size for the new Grover tuners I'm going to be installing. So luckily I don't have to get my reamer out and ream these holes at all. They just fit right in here. Of course I'm still going to have to drill the little small holes for the screws down here, but hopefully that shouldn't be a big deal if I can just find the right small drill bit. I also found my crappy old pair of calipers so I can try to take some measurements. You know, some of the spacing here or the nut width and things like that. Because again, this is just a plastic nut, so it might be nice to replace this with a bone or tusk nut at some point. Well guys, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this part 2 sort of video. Sorry if it was a bit boring, but again, this was basically just the teardown process, so it's not all that exciting just yet. But I hope everyone will stay tuned, if anyone's even watching this, that is. I'm going to clean all this up and get something to eat, or make myself something to eat since it's 9:30 nearly. And appreciate anyone who's watched this whole video, and I'll see you in the next one.